Hi, my name is JoAnne Dunn. I'm a portrait and wedding photographer here on the Amalfi Coast. I've been shooting women for 32 years. In that time, I've developed an addiction to showing women just how beautiful they really are. It is my experience that most women are plagued with self-hate. And I believe the reason for this is because of media, social media, advertising, the fashion industry. They present this image of what beauty should be, which is completely false. It's a mirage. They use really, really young models, and those models have 2 meters of makeup on, the ideal light. Then those pictures are even retouched. So those models don't even look like themselves in those pictures. And then women compare themselves to those pictures. And of course, it's a mirage. It's not even real. And no wonder they hate themselves. No wonder they hate the way they look. They're trying to achieve a standard of beauty which is literally not possible to achieve in reality. I mean, I've shot about 1,000 women in my life. They have all told me how unphotogenic they are. And one of the reasons that this is because they are comparing themselves to those images that are so retouched, comparing to their selfies. And it's normal that you don't feel beautiful. It's normal that you feel like you can't compare. So a little bit of progress has been made, and there are changes being made, but it's slow. And although they are including different kinds of models of all ages now and of all shapes and sizes, a lot of the damage has already been done. And still, if you page through a modern magazine, fashion magazine, it's filled with women that just don't eat, or are the 1% that are blessed with these genetics that are super skinny. But it's ironic because it's something that us women do to ourselves, because men, it's not that we're trying to make ourselves more appealing to men, because if you just have to watch porno to realize that men don't like super, super skinny women. You just have to look at where someone like Cindy Crawford from the 80s, who was a supermodel, would today be considered a plus-size model. The part that I absolutely love about my job is where showing women how beautiful they are. Because there's a moment when I'm busy shooting and you can just see on their faces, they're thinking, oh my God, what have I done? This woman's insane. What is she asking of me? Because, I do tend to be a little crazy when I shoot. And then I show them the picture. It's that look on their face where I literally feel like I've liberated a soul. I've set someone free from years of self-abuse. And that is priceless. That's my thing. That's what gets me up in the morning. I love doing that. And I think there's something to be said for a really flattering portrait. An untouched up portrait that you like of yourself can do what would take normally years in therapy. Because you see, we may not be as beautiful as we would like to be, but we're definitely not as ugly as we think we are. I don't love using Photoshop to make flattering portraits, because it takes away the therapeutic value of the portrait. Because if you know that a picture's been touched up, you might like that picture and you might like to present that picture, but in your heart you know that's not you. So it's not really making you feel very good about yourself. If anything, it's highlighting what's wrong. So I prefer to keep Photoshop to a minimum. It's really amazing what you can do with light and pose. In my 20s, I worked in London doing portfolios for strippers, and those women showed me what a pose can do. It's absolutely mind-blowing what a good pose with the right light can do. Now, that doesn't mean I don't use Photoshop at all. Obviously, if you've got a blemish, if you've got a bruise, a little chicken fillet that goes over the top of the dress, or if you need a little clip on the wings, just a dash. Without changing who the person is, I don't think that's anything wrong with that. But Photoshop should not be there to completely alter the person. I'm also against really heavy use of filters, because I think the closer you are to reality, the closer it is to the memory, the more it is a time capsule. So another thing is that Photoshop, extreme touching up in Photoshop is very noticeable. You can tell straight away. And if you instead, there's a way to remove a double chin with a pose and light that stays you, and you know it's you, without the double chin, without having to use Photoshop, without having to fake things. It looks so much better and works so much better. So I really recommend using poses, and I know the word pose has got such a bad rep because it's still what's left over, because wedding photography used to be really cheesy, and there's still a lot of that around. But you know, not all posing is the same. You really don't want me to fix your double chin. You really don't want me to make you as slim and young as I possibly can, because it's mind-blowing what you can do. And you can't really tell what I can do because you haven't seen my clients. But if you look at my self-portraits, because I am because everyone says to me, oh, but your clients are all so gorgeous. Well, I am a middle-aged, funny-looking ducky. If you've ever met me in person, I'm really quite funny-looking. I have wrinkles and I have rolls, and I'm of a certain age. But if you look at my portraits, which have not been touched up, which are using really clever lighting and really clever poses, you'll understand what can be done with lighting and posing. Because nearly every client goes, oh, I'm so much better when I'm spontaneous. Only Naomi Campbell, like literally only Naomi Campbell is gorgeous spontaneous. Most of us are much better with a little bit of help. And it takes a little convincing because it feels uncomfortable, and so people generally don't want to play that game with me. So I find that showing them my self-portraits is the quickest way to get a client on board. In the last year, it has become extremely important to have a really good profile picture, especially with professionally. It can be, first impressions count, and whether you like it or not, social media, thanks to social media and sites like LinkedIn, the first impression people are going to have of you is a photo of you. And so you want a picture that you like and that represents who you are and makes you feel good about yourself. So never has it been more important to have a really good, flattering picture of yourself than it is right now. And up until now, I've been talking about how important it is and how healing it is for women, because, so much of women's self-value is based on the way they look. But it's also really important for men, whether it's for politicians or bodybuilders, or there are a lot of men that also really need a good picture of themselves to present themselves to the world, whether it's socially. I mean, if you're single, you absolutely need fabulous pictures of yourself, or whether it's professionally, to present yourself as the way you would like to be seen. So right now we're in my garden. You're actually in my lavender patch that's behind you. And I renovated what used to be a water reservoir. We're 250 stairs from the closest road, and Ravello's above us and Minori's below us. We're in a gorgeous area that is very quiet, off the beaten track, great place to take boudoir photos, family photos, and everything in between. Private portraits, professional portraits. Inside, the house is very simple, so there are lots of settings available to do different styles of portraits even. So whether you want something really professional, I have the lights, I have everything we need. Or if you want to come play in my lavender with me, I have a glorious time with my ladies with a bottle of Prosecco and some pastries and some giggles, and we have the most fabulous, fabulous time. And we have the whole area to play in. Also for couple shots, some clients, they want wedding photos or honeymoon photos, and maybe they got married in the US, or they elope. This is a great place to take some nice pictures. There's an amazing view, and They're changing facilities. It's super private, super safe. And the garden, of course, being open air, it's just a great, safe place you can bring the whole family to. And of course, very private. Aesthetics will be my primary consideration, and I'm really always trying to make people look really good in my pictures, and it's my priority, and it's the thing I think that is most important. But it won't be my only consideration when shooting a wedding. With weddings, I absolutely love reportage. I absolutely love catching the moment. And I've come to realize there are certain moments that are essential for a bride. For example, when the groom sees her for the first time, that has to be possibly the reason she's getting married, possibly the reason she's having a wedding, So I love those moments, and they are little time capsules. Photographs become a way to relive the past. And there are lots of moments that a bride and groom might not even see. And I know that is my responsibility. So although my main goal is to make you as young, gorgeous, slim, and fabulously beautiful as you possibly can be, I also like to make sure that I can transport you back in time. So I don't just shoot one style of photography. We shoot any style that my client requires. So we work the way advertising agencies would. You get presented with a brief before your wedding, and you tell me all about your complexest style, your wildest wishes, and we work out a strategy to make those things come true. Just the way you would with any kind of commercial photography assignments. I can shoot in any way you like. I've been doing weddings for 20 years, and you can imagine styles change all the time. So I'm very versatile, and we can do a whole bunch of things. My approach is all about what you would like. So it's personal and client directed, and I just find it more stimulating that way. And it's just a way to guarantee a client satisfaction if a client is completely directing my approach. It's really important to understand that there are huge cultural differences. I mean, I shoot all kinds of nationalities, from Japanese, Australian, all the way through to British, Scottish, and if you compare an Irishman to a Japanese wedding, well, they're worlds apart. But I will tell you what everyone has in common. Nearly all my clients are uncomfortable in front of the camera, and all my clients want to look their best. So I really hope that you will give me a chance to show you just how beautiful you really are. Can't all be Kate Moss, and I can't promise you that I can make you into Kate Moss, but wouldn't you really like to have a photograph of yourself looking your absolute best? And believe me, it's a fabulous way to start your wedding day.